Maple syrup feels simple. It comes from trees, it's natural, and it's part of Canadian identity. Most people assume that if a bottle says pure maple syrup, then the story ends there. But in reality, what's inside that bottle can vary more than you think. Some brands rely on generic sourcing. Others are owned by large corporations or blend syrup from hundreds, sometimes thousands, of farms. That doesn't always mean bad quality, but it does mean you may not really know what you're buying. In this video, we're looking at 7 Canadian maple syrup brands that raise questions about transparency, sourcing, or value, and 3 brands that truly deliver authenticity and quality. Stick with me, because the final recommendation might surprise you. Let's begin with the first commonly found brand. You've almost certainly seen President's Choice maple syrup if you shop at Loblaw-owned stores. It's affordable, widely available, and clearly labeled as pure Canadian syrup. The product itself is genuine maple syrup. There are no additives, and it meets all Canadian standards. But the real issue here is transparency. Store brands often source syrup from multiple processors and suppliers, and consumers rarely get information about the farms behind the product. For everyday pancakes, it works perfectly fine. But if you care about knowing the producer or supporting small maple farms, this brand doesn't tell you much of a story. Now let's move to another major store label. At Sobeys, IGA, and Foodland, you'll find Compliments maple syrup, including organic options. The organic certification is real, and the syrup quality is generally good. However, questions about labeling practices were once raised in reporting by CBC News, especially regarding how Canadian product tags were displayed across categories. That doesn't mean the syrup is fake, but the higher price for the organic label isn't matched by better sourcing transparency. Consumers pay more without necessarily learning where their syrup actually comes from. Let's move to a historic name with a different kind of story. Les Industries Bernard and Fils has deep roots in Quebec maple production, tracing its history back generations. Today, however, the company operates on a much larger scale and sources syrup from thousands of partner farms. That makes them more of a processor and bottler than a single-origin producer. They maintain strong certifications and export worldwide, which shows professional production standards. But when syrup is blended from so many sources, traceability becomes difficult. You're buying quality maple syrup, just not one tied to a specific farm or region. Next comes one of the biggest players in the entire industry. Citadel is one of the world's largest maple syrup suppliers. It represents thousands of producer families and distributes syrup globally. Their products are certified, authentic, and carefully processed. But scale comes with trade-offs. When syrup from so many producers is blended together, the connection to individual farms disappears. For consumers who just want pure maple syrup at a fair price, Citadel works well. But if you're searching for a unique regional flavor or small farm identity, this cooperative model doesn't provide it. Let's continue with another major retail option. If you shop at Walmart Canada, you've probably seen our finest maple syrup. It's certified pure and meets Canadian standards. The issue again is sourcing transparency. Like most store brands, it doesn't specify which producers supply the syrup. Taste reviews also vary, especially for darker varieties that some people find too strong or unusual. This isn't a bad product, just not one for buyers who want to know exactly where their food originates. Next is a brand with industry recognition, but a different structure. Turkey Hill Sugarbush has decades of experience and awards in the maple world. They do produce syrup themselves, but they also bottle large volumes sourced from partner producers. On top of that, they provide private labeling for other companies. Now that means your syrup might come from multiple suppliers, and the same company could be bottling products under several different brand names. The syrup quality is solid, but consumers should understand they're buying from a processing and distribution network rather than a single maple farm. Now let's look at a brand that appears small but has a bigger backing. Shady Maple Farms is often marketed as a premium organic syrup with strong ethical positioning. The product is authentic and well-reviewed. However, many consumers don't realize it's owned by the same cooperative we discussed earlier, Citadel. That means while the certifications are real, the brand's small-scale image doesn't fully reflect its large cooperative ownership. For organic-focused buyers, it still works well. But expectations about supporting a small independent operation may not match reality. Before we move to the recommended brands, let's quickly talk about why sourcing matters at all. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency strictly regulates maple syrup. Any addition of other sugars counts as fraud. Because maple syrup is expensive and in high demand, it's one of the foods most vulnerable to adulteration worldwide. Canada produces the majority of the global supply, with Quebec dominating production. This system helps protect quality, but it also means most syrup passes through large processing systems. When labels are vague, consumers lose visibility into how their syrup traveled from tree to bottle. That's why brands that provide clear sourcing and traceability stand out. Let's move to the first recommended brand. Jakeman's represents what many people imagine when they think of traditional Canadian maple syrup. The company works closely with regional farmers across Ontario and maintains long-term relationships with its suppliers. Their syrup is consistently filtered, graded, and bottled with careful quality control. The result is syrup that tastes balanced, reliable, and distinctly Canadian. It's not positioned as luxury syrup, it's positioned as honest, family-rooted production. For consumers who want authenticity without paying boutique prices, Jakeman's is a strong option. Now let's move to a premium single-origin brand. Escuminac is often described as the fine wine of maple syrup. Produced in a specific Quebec region near the sea, the syrup reflects a distinct terroir, meaning the environment influences the flavor. It's organic, estate bottled, and fully traceable from tree to bottle. This brand focuses on craftsmanship rather than volume. Every bottle comes from the same maple forest, giving it a unique and consistent character. For buyers who view maple syrup as a gourmet ingredient rather than just a topping, Escuminac delivers one of the most refined options available. Now for the final recommendation, the one that balances quality with accessibility. Decatur is produced by Atlantic Maple, part of Rogers Sugar. What makes this brand stand out is how it combines strong quality standards with wide availability. The syrup is certified, carefully processed, and consistently rated well in taste tests. Unlike boutique brands, it's affordable and easy to find. And that makes it one of the best options for everyday use while still delivering reliable Canadian maple syrup quality. It proves that transparency and affordability can exist together. So next time you pick up a bottle of maple syrup, take a moment to read beyond the front label. Look for brands that tell you where the syrup comes from and who stands behind it. If you found this guide helpful, subscribe for more food industry breakdowns that help you shop smarter. Thanks for watching, and enjoy your next breakfast with syrup you can trust.